everybody, welcome to my Suburban Oasis. Guess what today's video is? It's a plant haul, y'all. Alright, I'm super excited. I got some clearance plants to show you and it's just a great day. And I can't wait to get these in the ground, but I want to show them to you first. My name's Soleil. I garden in Zone 5B in mid-Michigan. And I got some great deals today. I got some sun plants, I got some shade plants, I got some hydrangeas. All of these though are perennials except two. So let's get started. This is the first one. These are Angelonias, and I got these for 50 cents. Got two of them. They were $5.98 on the clearance rack for 50 cents because we only have like a month and a half left in our growing season before we start to get frost. But these are going to look beautiful until then. Just look at the gorgeous flowers on them. Whew. So I'm excited about these because I can just plant them wherever I want to and they're going to look beautiful right from the start. And these are an annual. Like I said, this is called the Serena Rose Angelonia. And it is 16 inches tall by 14 inches wide, and it blooms spring, summer, and fall. I had some purple Angelonia last year and I absolutely loved them, and I had hoped to maybe find some more on clearance this year a little earlier in the season, but there weren't any available. So I had some verbena that I found instead, but I love these Angelonia. They're just beautiful. They provide a really nice vertical accent. All right. Next up, we have something that is also for sun, or it can be also used in partial shade. So this is a 4-inch perennial pot. I got these at my local nursery, Van Atta's, and these are a perennial. These are teeny tiny coral bells. Aren't these super cute? These are Heuchera pulchella, and they're a perennial, and they are from Plant Select Petites. They are called Sandia coral bells, and they get only to a height of 8 inches tall, so they'll definitely get a little taller. Well, they could stay at 3 to 8 inches tall, 6 to 10 inches wide, and zone 4 to 7. And these bloom from May until June, so they bloom earlier in the spring, and they have these cute little beautiful light pink flowers on stems that look like they're slightly red or a deep pink rose color. So I think these are going to be really beautiful, and they'll look gorgeous at the front of the border or even as a ground cover around some other perennials or shrubs. So not sure exactly where I'm going to use them yet, but definitely a great addition to my collection, and I look forward to seeing how they do in the garden. All right. Next up, we have Denim Lace. This is a good old standby. I got some of these last year on clearance, and these have some of those little, like, I don't know what you call them. They're little like corrals or whatever, the plugs, the mesh that's around them. So I'm going to have to pull those out before I plant them. But what I'm going to do with these is just cut the tops off and plant them. I've got some of them in my back garden on my south facing wall by the brick where it's very hot and dry and the soil doesn't have a lot of great content in terms of nutrients, and they don't mind that. They go in full sun. They're hardy in zones 4 to 9, and they get about 32 inches tall, and they can get up to 3 feet wide. Now, in my area, they don't tend to get that big, so I have not seen them ever get that big. They usually stay maybe a couple of feet tall by a couple of feet wide. So it's interesting to see how they do in different climates. So definitely when you see sizes of plants, it can vary depending on what zone you're in, what area of the garden you plant them in, whether it's full sun, part sun, those kind of things. And the nutrients that are in your soil and how much rainfall you get. So these are going to be gorgeous. I actually got 3 of these, and they were originally $12.98, so I got them for $7 a piece. They don't look great, but again, I'm just going to chop the tops off, leave about the bottom 4 inches, and let them set some roots down in the ground this fall. I was also excited to find some of this catmint. I already have some of this in my garden, but it performs really great. This is the Cat's Meow. So Proven Winners has a series of these, and there's Cat's Meow, Cat's Pajama, and they're all different sizes, and this one goes in full sun. But this is more of the medium size one. So this grows up to 20 inches tall and about 24 inches to 36 inches wide. So it can be fairly wide, but it's a nice low growing one. And I find that it looks lovely at the front of a border, and it does really well in poor soils and in hot sun. So I'm looking forward to growing some of this. I have a few areas where I'm looking to replace some hostas that I'm thinking about this for, but I'm not absolutely sure yet. I do love to have some of this plant material around just to have on hand, and when I'm ready to replace things, then I have some choices about what I want to use. So this is hardy in zones 3 to 8. So you could overwinter these in containers, but if you get a lot of moisture over the winter, probably not going to work out so well because these don't like to have wet feet. Again, full sun for these. Did I tell you I got these for $7 a piece? These were also marked $12.98, so I got 3 of these for $7 each. Very excited about this plant. So this was a plant that was introduced by Proven Winners this year for 2023, and it already hit the clearance racks for me in my area because it's just looking a little bit tired. And wow, this one could be beautiful. This is a Veronica, and this is the new Magic Show Ever After. So this blooms, you can see a beautiful lavender blue color, and it has gorgeous spikes on it, and it blooms in May and June. Early summer to midsummer, so depending on where you are, that can mean different things for different people. But it is fairly short. It only gets to about 16 inches tall, but it has these, again, nice, beautiful, spiky flowers that are very tall as well. And it reminds me a little bit of the growth habit of salvia, but it has a much more compact and beautiful leaf structure to it. These grow in full sun and hardy in zones 4 to 8. 12 inches tall and about 16 inches tall and about 14 inches wide. These look like I can probably divide them as well because they're quite large. This one definitely appears to have at least 2 good-sized plants in them. And then there's also some roots that are starting to come out from the stem on this one. So I literally could take cuttings of this and propagate it pretty easy. Again, only for home propagation, not for selling or for giving to friends and family, because these are protected by plant patents. One other thing to think about with these is that they're supposed to be self-cleaning spikes, and you can kind of see that there isn't any, brown spent flower foliage on these. So they look nice and clean and have pretty spikes if you don't have the time to deadhead. I got 3 of these. These were $18.98, so they were half off, so I got them for about $9.50 a piece. And I do plan to try to get more than 1 plant out of each one of these so that they can grow on this fall, and then have hopefully 5 plants out of the 3 plants next year for the full season. There was a truckload of hydrangeas that must have been delivered to my local Lowe's that must have been on a really hot day, and they forgot to water because there was a lot of hydrangeas that they had on the clearance rack that they were selling for half off. So behind me, we have a limelight hydrangea. Most of you are probably very familiar with the limelight hydrangea. These are by Proven Winners. It was one of their very first ones, and it's also one of their biggest. They are hardy in zones 3 to 9, and they get up to 8 feet tall and 8 feet wide, so it can get rather large. I have a great idea for where I'm going to put this one though, so I'm pretty excited about having found it. And they grow best in sun, but they can do pretty well down to part shade. So sun, part shade. And I've had actually pretty good experience with growing panicle hydrangeas in part sun or part shade, only because their blooms tend to not dry out or be maybe fried by the sunshine as much, because they don't have as much of that hot heat exposure and dryness. If you have irrigation system, then that's probably not a problem for you, but I don't. I rely primarily on nature's rain. So that just means that sometimes when it can get dry and really sunny out during the summer, that they can get a little bit crispy. But I've got a great idea for where this one's going to go, and I would consider it to be probably a part sun location. All right, again, this is 6 to 8 feet tall and wide, and hardy in zones 3 to 9, so these are a good one for growing in pots, and I've had lots of success overwintering hydrangeas, especially paniculatas, overwinter in pots. And what I would say about that is you don't have to do anything. I got a lot of questions after my last video where I talked about hydrangeas, and really all I do is I leave the pot out. You do, if you have a dry winter season, need to go out and water and make sure that they do get some water over the winter. Not a lot, but just enough to make sure that the roots don't completely dry out or get completely frozen out. So it's a great way to extend another way to grow hydrangeas. Now I think this hydrangea is probably the best looking one out of the bunch of hydrangeas that really were quite scorched and dry, but they have been rehabbing here and they look all right. I think they're going to be just fine. I'm going to actually clip off the flowers after I do this video and when I plant them. That way when they are going into the ground, they will have less stress on them. So these are a new hydrangea to me. I have not seen them before. These are by First Edition Shrubs and Trees, and this is called the Little Hottie. And the Little Hottie is a smaller, like a mid-sized panicle hydrangea. It grows 3 to 5 feet tall and 3 to 5 feet wide. So it's a perfect size for the middle of the border or even the back of the border if you have a smaller garden. These also grow in full sun to part shade, and they have gorgeous white blooms that start out green. They change to creamy white, and then they turn light pink as the temperatures drop into the fall. So should be really gorgeous and possibly have a little bit of a color habit similar to Little Lime, but they do look like they definitely get very white in the pictures, which we'll put up for you. They also are shown as being drought tolerant, and I would say for paniculatas, that's definitely been my experience as well compared to some of the other hydrangea types, so that's great. All right, so we're in the backyard now, and I thought it would be fun to show you some of these new irises that I got as well. These are from Longfield Gardens, and they are from Costco. So they sell bags of these on racks, and you can just check out what they have. They're a really great deal. Sometimes you can find things that you just don't have yet. And these are from Longfield Gardens. Again, each bag comes with 4 different irises, and they usually come with 2 different varieties. So this particular one right here is Dawn Eternal, and that's this one. We'll put up some pictures actually so you can see them up close, but it blooms in late spring. So the Dawn Eternal has purple, and it has like a yellow in it that's very gold and a really nice contrast. And it also has white, so it's very colorful, and again, it blooms in late spring. It gets really tall though, about 40 inches tall. So what I like about that is you can put it in the center of a circular garden and it will have enough height to get up and over some of the border plants if you want to, but you can also put it in the back of a border for some height. Now, most of the time, irises are going to be primarily a foliage plant, but this is a reblooming iris, so that's what excited me about it. We'll see if we have a long enough season here in Zone 5B to be able to get a rebloom. But this Dawn Eternal is absolutely wonderful in terms of the colors that it's going to give me. I've had these in this pot already for probably a week and a half. And they come as bare root tubers that are really dry and brown, but you just put them into the soil and give them a good water and they will perk up for you really quickly. All right, next up we have Pagan Dance, and Pagan Dance really goes well with the Dawn Eternal, so that's why they sell them as a pack. It's a deep purple, but it also has a lighter purple in the crown of the iris. I wish I had better terminology for them. I don't know the best terminology to explain irises, but you can see what the picture looks like, right? The top is a little bit of a lighter purple and a very deep, rich purple on the petals that fall down. And this one also blooms in late spring, so they should bloom at approximately the same time and really provide a nice offset for each other and harmonize well. This one though only gets to 30 inches tall, so it'll be a little bit shorter than the Dawn Eternal, and what that does then when they bloom at the same time is it allows you to see both of them within the view, and it should provide a really nice show. So I'm excited about those two. All right, next up over here we have His Royal Highness. This one is also a purple iris, and it goes really well with the one next to it, which is called Concertina. So His Royal Highness is a deep dark purple, and it blooms in the late spring, and it gets to about 30 inches tall. Now the Concertina, which is next to it, is a pink, a lighter pink color, but then inside the little is it the beard? I don't know what it is, but inside of it you can see that there's a purple that really goes well with the purple on His Royal Highness. So it's a great set of different irises that you can combine to look really beautiful together. And again, with one being 30 inches and the other one being 27 inches high, you'll have that height offset as well to really bring that beauty into it. All of these are reblooming irises, so again, I'm really hopeful that we'll be able to get a second bloom here in Zone 5B. Our growing period is shorter than some others. They're not necessarily guaranteed to have a second set of blooms, but definitely if you have a longer growing season, you have a better chance at it. And if you plant them in full sun, they also have a better chance at it because they really like to have that hot, strong sunshine to be able to produce those blooms. So we'll see how it goes next year. Well, thanks everybody for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed taking a look at some of the great finds I got on clearance, as well as some of the awesome irises I'm going to try out next year. Thanks for joining me again, and we'll see you next time. Bye!